What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this Loki Episode 2 breakdown, review, and recap. Oh boy, what an opener last week was, but this week the Chaotic God has secured a new consultant role at the TVA just to secure some face time with the Timekeepers. The latest attack from variant Loki, who we found out at the end is female Loki, starts in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. You may recognise the Minutemen who got kidnapped. That is Sasha Lane and starred in the superb Amazon remake of Utopia. Sophie DiMartino is playing the worst kept secret of female Loki, except it's a bit different here. This Loki is of course a time variant, but in the comics Loki was reborn and took over the body of Lady Sif after the comics version of Ragnarok. And in this, Lady Sif actually took place in a different body of a dying person, so bit of a dick move there, Loki. Now, I'm not ruling that or any body changes from Loki at all. However, she does kidnap a Minuteman and then runs off to hide as the crime scene is investigated, which is a Renaissance fair. Now, I found it funny when the woman there was like, hey, some people need this. Loki is now turned into Lucifer by investigating crimes as a consultant and lies that, well, they may need to stay where they are lest they actually die. But it's not convincing, and part of me does think that this wolf thing does remind me of Fenrir, Hela's wolf there, as we saw in Thor Ragnarok. But Mobius isn't having any of his rubbish today. However, Loki is tasked with reading through all the case files of the variant Loki. We see a few numbers, but 372 is seen a lot, which is the issue of Thor where the TVA were first mentioned. Thor tangled with Justice Peace, a freelancer with the TVA, as Thor tries to stop the Zaniac from killing Jane Foster. Also continued here is Mobius' love of the 90s and, well, jet skis. You can see him drink 90s soda, as I mentioned last week, and this makes sense as he did debut in Marvel Comics in 1991. Of course, all the interesting files on the TVA's creation and end of time are classified. However, Loki realises that apocalypses are the perfect hiding place for his variant, as the place is going to end anyway, so no variant energy will be detected and it cannot be changed. One thing I found odd was that it said how there were no survivors, but there were escape ships, but I guess it means when Thanos was destroyed at the start of Endgame, he did destroy all of, well, most of the Asgardians, but we know there are some who survived on Earth and they're just sitting there probably playing Fortnite with Korg. Now, as well as this, we did have the mention of poor Mobius' salad was destroyed, and in this as well, he just mentioned about burning the palace, and as well as that, also pushing Bruce Banner off of the Rainbow Bridge. Now, if he did both of these things, well, Heimdall and the rest of the refugees would have been killed in Ragnarok. Deep cut there. I really like how they went to Pompeii in Italy and caused chaos, and they confirmed Loki's theory that no variance energy was indeed detected. However, they now need to actually find out where the other apocalypse the female Loki is hiding. Well, luckily, Mobius grabs the chewing gum from the first episode and they track it down. The gum on there looks suspiciously like a version of Loki. Again, just like the first episode, I thought it was a perfect time to add Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to the mainline MCU, as the apocalypse could have been destroyed the Earth, but hey ho, it's not going to happen, is it? Now, they track the chewing gum down, as well as an apocalypse, to a Rox cart building on Earth in the future. Of course, Roxanne is the evil energy corporation, which is featured heavily in Agent Carter, and, well, if we're going to make a loose connection, there is the theory that Peggy Carter was in last week's episode, and Roxanne was featured predominantly in the Agent Carter TV show, and will no doubt feature prominently once more again in Thor Love and Thunder, as the Minotaur Dario Agger was head of Roxanne and used his power to mess with Jane Foster's Thor. Now, before this thought, Mobius and our boy Loki have an existential discussion about the TVA and how Mobius just believes it is all real and time is supposed to be flowing in the right direction and the timekeepers are real. I said last week how I doubt that everyone is exactly how it is being presented here, and when Mobius speaks to Renslayer this episode, he asks how the keepers are, and Renslayer seems suspicious. Considering her character in the comics was entangled with Kang, there is a lot more going on here behind the scenes than I actually think. I do think she is a puppet of Kang the Conqueror, and the Time Twisters instead of the Timekeepers are here in the show. The Time Twisters, the evil version of the Timekeepers who worked with Immortus, the other version of Kang. Yeah, it gets complicated. Now, Renslayer does allow the mission to go ahead, and they go to Rock's car, and I loved how B-15 was like, oh, hell no, to Loki getting the daggers back. And they head into Rock's car. It's pretty dark how everyone is going to die there. However, female Loki is already there and ready to set a reset charge, and the missing Minutemen is found. I really liked the slow reveal with the different people being enchanted, and Loki tries to reveal his plan, which is to overthrow the Timekeepers, as this is clearly the most powerful he can be in the universe if he has the power of the sacred timeline. But this variant just laughs and is much more powerful than him, further proving Mobius and B-15's point that this is a superior variant. Now, we do get the reveal that this is Lady Loki, again played by Sophie Di Martino. I was very lucky to go to London and see a screening of the first 2 episodes, and she did appear and seemed like a nice person, but it's a bit different here than in the comics. In the comics, after Avengers disassembled, Loki did take over the body of, yes, herself, Lady Sif, and well, as this here, this is a variant, someone who is from a different reality and not a trick Loki. But again, an assumption, so time will only tell. But she says that this isn't about him, and this tracks with the kidnapping of the Minutemen, saying that it's true, which means that female Loki has clearly revealed a lot more about the truth of what all of this really is. She has clearly been through a lot, as one of her horns is broken, which is similar to when Loki becomes female again in Agent of Asgard. The big thing at the end of the episode is that the kidnapped person also revealed where the Timekeepers are, and comic readers, you know, they are in the Null time zone, which means that Loki does go with her. He will be one step closer to finding them, and no doubt trying to take them over for his own gain. While the TVAs have tried to stop the multiverse from existing for God knows how long, it seems the variant's plan was to actually create somewhat of a multiverse bomb by launching reset charges. As we saw at the end, we saw countless new timelines being created, and they were red, which does hint that they are heading towards Nexus-level events. While the multiverse doesn't exist because they are always being pruned, technically, we have countless multiple realities being made as the Minutemen head out, including Renslayer, to actually prune them all. It makes sense why there is a multiverse of madness upcoming, and how the rumoured multiple Spidey villains will appear in Spider-Man 3 despite dying. It's an exciting season already with just 2 episodes, and as we know, WandaVision, a fellow show, got weirder and weirder, and I expect the Nexus thing to connect to this, considering that Wanda is actually a Nexus being, which means she will be free to go through time and actually try and find her family, or at least a variant of her family. And that may explain how we will get the Young Avengers, as in the comics, Billy and his brother were actually reincarnated versions, so they might be variants who are connected to their mother. Again, all speculation there. But do let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please do drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and do subscribe with notifications on if you want more from us, and I'll see you soon, and goodbye.